The last thing we have to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh boy. So, if you guys haven't been subscribed to the channel for a while, back when I did my NFL record predictions for this year, I said that the Jacksonville Jaguars will win 6 or more games and actually put some real money on this. So I have real money on the Jacksonville Jaguars winning 6 games. Now, Jacksonville lost to the Houston Texans 37-21, and I promise you this game was way more lopsided than what the final score indicates. This game pretty much was a blowout. The Houston Texans were well prepared. They were better coached. And Urban Meyer and his coaching staff simply did not look prepared in this game. They didn't make adjustments. I was really disappointed with the performance that the Jacksonville Jaguars had week 1. And maybe I suffered a similar fate that a lot of people had when it came to the narrative about the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody has these high expectations for Buffalo, and everybody doesn't have high expectations for Pittsburgh. Everybody has low expectations for the Steelers this year. Well, everybody, myself included, has low expectations for Houston. And, everybody has pretty low expectations for Jacksonville, but, there's higher expectations for Jacksonville than there are for Houston. Simply for the fact that everybody believes that Houston has the worst roster in the NFL. Well, Houston was a really well-coached team. And remind you that Houston also has a brand new head coach as well. And yet, it looked like this Houston Texans coaching staff was one step ahead of the Jacksonville Jaguars for the whole entire game. Urban Meyer and this staff, did they even try to make some damn adjustments? Carlos Hyde led the Jacksonville Jaguars in rushing attempts. You barely used James Robinson. James Robinson is a better back all around than Carlos Hyde. Better runner and better catching the ball in the passing game. And they barely used James Robinson. How do you barely use the best player on your team last year? Are you kidding me? And yes, I do have James Robinson on a couple of my fantasy football teams. So yes, this just comes from a little bit of frustration from that standpoint. But damn. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 interceptions. I'm not concerned about his 3 interceptions. Andrew Luck threw 3 interceptions in his NFL debut, I believe. There's been a bunch of players who have thrown 3 interceptions in their first game ever playing and end up having great careers. So I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned is Urban Meyer and his staff. And the defense, okay, I don't really know what to think about the defense because they had to come back on the field for 3 turnovers. So, of course, the defense wasn't going to play all that well. But even then, the defense still didn't look all that great. The defense still doesn't look that improved. The Jacksonville Jaguars don't look any better this year than what they did last year. And that really concerns me. Because I think that Jacksonville is going to win 6 games. Or at least I thought. And I don't really know, but I'm concerned. And if I'm concerned, you Jacksonville Jaguar fans should be concerned. And you can say, well, JT, it's just week 1. You can't listen. In the preseason, this offensive line didn't look good. The offense didn't really look all that great. And a lot of people had a lot of criticisms about Urban Meyer. There were a lot of reports coming out that the locker room, there are already some players that aren't really sold on Urban Meyer. So I feel like week 1 was really important for Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. And we still have a lot of football left. We have 16 weeks left. This is a 17-week season. So there's still a lot of football that has to be played. But sometimes you don't need to wait long to see the red flags when they're up in your face. If you take a girl on a date and you already start to notice some red flags, you don't need to take the girl out 2 more times to really legitimize the legitimacy of those red flags that you saw. When you see red flags, you have to acknowledge them. And I understand this is week 1, but I already see red flags with Jacksonville that have to be acknowledged. And you Jaguar fans can't ignore them. Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. As a Jaguar fan, ask yourself, did this team Sunday look like a better team than what we saw last year in 2020? Ask yourself that. I would say no. I was really disappointed with the Jacksonville Jaguars' performance. Jacksonville got out-coached. They looked outmatched. And Houston doesn't have a better roster than Jacksonville. But he had a better coach. They were better coached. And that's why I try to tell people, talent doesn't matter if you have a good coach. If you have a good coach, you can scheme up ways to win. This is the NFL. Urban Meyer didn't look prepared. There are a lot of players right now who have formerly played who have been heavily critical of Urban Meyer. Uchi Ranieri used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a former offensive lineman, was really good, one of the best players in Jacksonville Jaguars history. Make sure that you go ahead and check out his YouTube channel, The Observant Lineman. He already pointed out that Urban Meyer and Jacksonville Jaguars were going to have some problems. And this was in the preseason. And I would kind of just, waved it off because I'm like, man, it's just the preseason. They'll get it together. But no, it's still similar problems. Like, I'm really concerned about Jacksonville. And I have money on Jacksonville winning 6 games this year. So this just isn't coming from somebody that, oh, JT, you're just hating on Jacksonville. I'm from Jacksonville. Okay, I've moved to Jacksonville when I was like 3 years old. I don't have any reason to hate Jacksonville. I want to see the Jacksonville Jaguars succeed because, trust me, there's nothing in Jacksonville. So when the Jacksonville Jaguars are good, that's pretty much the only thing there is to go to in Jacksonville is Jaguar games and the scooters downtown. There's no landing downtown in Jacksonville. That pretty much is shut down. Well, not shut down, but it's just nothing there. There's nothing really fun to do in Jacksonville. So when the Jacksonville Jaguars are good, that's one of the positive things about the city. So I want to see Jacksonville succeed. But at the end of the day, you have to look at the red flags. There are a lot of red flags about Urban Meyer. And now I'm not talking about when he decided to bring in Tim Tebow. I don't care about it. I don't care about, the reports out there that, he factored in unvaccinated and vaccinated players into his roster cuts. Because I'm pretty sure almost every team had that as a factor. Because if you have a player that's unvaccinated, that can end up causing, you to lose a game or something like that. So, of course, everybody wants to have, the players who don't put their team at risk the most. And I'm not saying anything to, contradict the virus or anything like that. I'm just saying that Urban Meyer isn't the only coach that, factor the players' vaccination status into them making or not making a roster. I'm pretty sure almost every team in the NFL did the same thing. Nobody just said it in the way Urban Meyer did. And Urban Meyer, like the way he handles the media is kind of, really puzzling. Because this is a guy who was really good, a really good college football head coach, one of the greatest head coaches of all time in college football. So I thought he would be a little bit better handling the media than what he is. But there are a lot of things that Jacksonville needs to correct, and they need to do it fast. Because I'm not ignoring the red flags. You can say it's week 1, but sometimes there are flags that you see in week 1 that end up being the Achilles heel for the whole entire season. There are a lot of things that need to change drastically in Jacksonville really fast. I am concerned. Really concerned. Jacksonville was 3 of 11 on 3rd down. Really disappointing. Carlos Hyde, no way or any fashion for the rest of the year should ever, and I mean ever, have more carries than James Robinson. I don't give a damn what the situation is. James Robinson should be the lead back, and Urban Meyer barely got him involved. I don't care about how the game was going. James Robinson should have been in. Carlos Hyde, no way or fashion, should have had more carries than James Robinson. Like, are you serious? Carlos Hyde. When's the last time Carlos Hyde was actually good? Literally, that irritates me. Tyrod Taylor had a really good game. A really good game. I'm really happy for Tyrod. I'm a huge Tyrod Taylor fan. He got done wrong in Buffalo, got done wrong in Cleveland, and got done wrong with the Chargers last year. So I'm really happy to see him succeeding with the Texans so far. But when you look at Urban Meyer, I'm really worried. And if you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, you should be worried too.